So in the previous lecture video, in the introduction to constructor and destructors, we have seen what is constructor, and I have explained you in short about different types of constructors in C++. Let us go ahead and explore these types of constructors in C++. The very first type of constructor that you have is the default constructor. The default constructor which does not take any argument or any parameter, such an constructor is called as the default constructor. So what will happen in the default constructor? In the sense, it has been explained in the second point, it is also known as zero argument constructor. That is, the constructor will not have any parameter. Where the parameters are present, the parameters are present within the parenthesis. So if no constructor is defined, then the compiler supplies a default constructor automatically. So this is by automatically. If there is no constructor in the program, including classes and object concept, then automatically or by default the constructor will be created. Such constructor is also called as default constructor. So why do we name it as default constructor? Because it is automatically created if it is not existing. So if no constructor is existing in the program, the default constructor will be automatically existing in the program, which includes objects and classes. So hence the name is default constructor. Now what are the characteristics or features of default constructor that we are going to see? The features or characteristics of default constructor is, now for every object that you are going to create, object is created in the main method in your object oriented programming language with respect to the syllabus what we have seen. So every object that we are going to create, the default constructor is automatically called. So constructors are automatically called, they need not to called separately. So separate calling statement need not to be written for the constructor, they are been automatically invoked, that means automatically called. When they are called? When object is created. So I'll show you the statement where the object creation and the constructor will get invoked automatically. The next feature is, if I have 5 objects created and there exists a default constructor, now default constructor will initialize the value with some default. That default values will be existing for every object that has been created. So all the objects of the class are initialized to the same set of values. Now if 5 objects have been created, all these 5 objects will be initialized with same set of value. That means object 1 will have same value, object 2 will also have same value, object 3 will also have, and object 4 and 5 also will have the same set of values. So all the objects will have the same set of values for the default constructor. So now because it has same set of values, it is not possible for us to initialize different values for different objects that you are going to create with the default constructor. So if different objects are to be initialized with different values, it cannot be done by using the default constructor, because all the objects are being initialized with same set of values. That is the point number 2 that we have discussed. So now this is the problem that we have facing in the feature number 3. That is, it is not possible, or different values cannot be initialized for different objects that are being created. So you see, this problem can be solved by using other types of parameters also. So now we'll go for the default constructor syntax and example. Then we will talk about the problem that we have faced in the feature number 3 and how to overcome that particular problem. So default constructor, the syntax, class name. This is a general syntax for the class what we are having. Private members, public. So class name. So what is this? This is a constructor declaration. So declaration ending with a semicolon. Definition means there will be no semicolon. The parenthesis you will see it. Now where we have declared the constructor, see the constructor are always declared in the public section of the class. You need to keep in your mind where the constructors are declared. The constructors are always declared or defined in the public section of the class. Now, if they are declared inside the class, they can be defined outside the class by using the scope resolution operator. Now, what is the syntax? Class name, scope resolution operator, then the class name. So, return type will not be over here. So, directly it will go to the class name over here, then scope resolution operator, class name. That is a triangle method what we are following. So, return type doesn't appear here. Directly it will go to the class name, scope resolution operator, then the class name. So, the first piece that you see over here is representing the class name. Scope resolution operator defines the scope of the member function. So, it is a special member function that is having the same name as that of its class name, and the body of the constructor will appear. The body includes the set of statements that are initializing the data members of the class or private members of the class. We'll move ahead and we will see the example. So, we have taken the example of a class called interest. The name of the class is interest, having data members P, T and R declared under the private section. In the public section, we have a constructor declaration. As you can see, the name of the class and the name of the function, because function is identified by these two parentheses. Okay, it's same. So, hence it is constructor. So, because it is following with the semicolon, followed by the semicolon, it is called as the constructor declaration. So, constructors are declared in the class, but they can be defined inside the class or outside the class also. So, the class definition closes, then again I am defining outside the class. So, defining outside the class, what you can see, it will be defined outside the class or inside the class. So, if you are defining inside the class, the entire piece of information will be replaced over here. If you are defining outside the class, then interest over here, scope resolution operator, interest. That's the difference. So, I am showing you the difference between how constructor is declared and defined inside the class only, not outside the class. Outside the class, okay, outside the class, what we will do, we will write the name of the class, scope resolution operator, that is interest over here, scope resolution operator, then the same thing will be followed. Now, here is an example only for the class declaration, which includes data members and member function. In the member function, we have the constructor declaration. Now, this declaration can be replaced by the function definition also. The function definition can be replaced, okay, within this statement over here, if it is inside. If it is outside, you will have interest, scope resolution operator, then you will have the name of the function if it is outside the class. Now, here we have considered constructor declaration and definition separately. It is not related to the particular snippet. Here you can see another example where I have done the constructor declaration inside the class without declaring. I have defined the constructor very much inside the class. Class cube, the name of the class is cube. In the public section, I have a variable which belongs to integer type. The name of the variable is side. In the public, I have a constructor because it is having the same name as the class name, so matching with the name of the class. Then the variable that is declared inside the public, that is data member that is declared in the class, is been defined and initialized by the value called 10. Okay, so side is equals to 10. You have, that is called as the initialization statement. So in the previous slide you can go, initialization statements where P was given by the value 0.0, T 0.0, R 0.0, because the return type of the function is double. Now this is called as the default initialization. The default values for integer is 0. The default values for float and double type is 0.0. Okay, like the default initialization can be done, or if you want to have some other value, you can also specify this value apart from default values or default initialization. We'll move ahead and we will see the constructor which has been defined inside the class, the example what we have seen, how the initialization will affect, that is a variable that has been initialized will be initialized, or the value will be given to the side in the integer declaration. Okay. Now talking about the disadvantage. Now as you know, and many times I have told you about, there are technologies if existing have certain advantages and disadvantages. Similarly, if there exists some constructor with some specific type, it also has some advantages and disadvantages. Let us talk about the disadvantages of the default constructor. When many objects of same class are created, all the objects are initialized to the same set of values by the default constructor. That is the point that we have to overcome. So same point has been elaborated, and he says it is not possible to initialize different objects with different initial values using the default constructor. So you cannot initialize different values by using the default constructor. That's the takeaway from the disadvantages. Okay. So how can we solve this? Now what is this same set of values are been initialized? Going back, you see, now if object has been created for the class interest, let us consider object I1, I2, I3 and I4 are created in the main method. I1 will also have the value as same as I2, I3, I4 and I5, that is I1 will have the value as P is equals to 0.0, T is equals to 0.0, R is equals to 0.0. Similarly, this will happen with I2 will also have 0.0 for P, T and R. Similarly, this will happen with I3, I4 and I5 will also have the same set of value for P is equals to 0.0, T is equals to 0.0, R is equals to 0.0. That is same set of values are being initialized for every object that is been created. So that's a disadvantage, and it is not possible for us to initialize different values for different objects that we are going to create. Now to overcome this problem, we will go for the next type of constructor, that is called as the parameterized constructor. So the parameterized constructor overcomes the problem of having same set of values, so letting us to initialize different values for different objects that we are going to create by the help of parameters. Hence the name is parameterized constructor. Now let us see the definition and the example. A constructor that takes one or more argument, that is parameter, is called as the parameterized constructor. So minimum how many arguments or how many parameter it has to take? One argument or one parameter it has to take. So such constructor is called as the parameterized constructor. The next point is, it is possible to initialize different object with different values. So that means we are overcoming the problem of the default constructor in the parameterized constructor. So hence making every object to have the different set of values when they are being created. The parameterized constructors are used to initialize the object. Similarly, how the default constructor or the term constructor is used to initialize a set of objects. Moving ahead, we have the next point. The parameterized constructor can be overloaded. Overloading in the sense they can be having same name but differ in the type of parameter or number of parameter. How we spoke about the function overloading. Function overloading means function having same name but differs either in type of parameter or number of parameters. Same concept can be implemented on the constructor also by the help of parameterized constructor. So how does this parameterized constructor or constructor overloading will be identified? For an object created with one parameter, the constructor with one parameter is invoked or called automatically and executed. For a constructor, for an object what we create with the two parameters, constructor with two parameters will be invoked. For the object that has been created with three arguments or three parameters, constructor with three arguments is being invoked and executed. That's the way how the constructor overloading can be achieved. The parameterized constructor can have default argument and default set of values. This point we have spoken in the function overloading, that is default argument means the values are already initialized, the values are already given, no need to give the values. If you want to change, you can give. So by default it takes the values. C++ parameterized constructor can consist of syntax and example that we are going to explore. The syntax that we have taken over here is acting like an example also. See, syntax I will differentiate for you: class, class name, parameter list, and the brackets open and close, semicolon. So instead of this we have replaced with an example over here. Class, the name of the class is student. Okay. Then the constructor is defined, so it should be defined in the public section. So I have left here so that you identify where the constructor need to be defined. The constructor need to be defined in the public section. So if you don't specify anything over here, what will happen? It will be considered as private. So it is wrong. So what needs to be the access label of the constructor? The access label of the constructor should be public. Okay, so we have noted the error over here or mistake over here. Okay, it's for your knowledge what we have displayed. So student is the name of the class and name of the constructor is also student. It takes two parameter of integer type and initialization statements will be there. Now you see same example what we have taken in the cube, we have taken here also. So name of the class is cube, having a data member called side. Cube int x, x is a value or variable that parameter can be passed. The parameter value is being assigned to the data member, that is side will get the value from the parameter that is called as the x. So that is constructor definition. What type of constructor it is? It is a parameterized constructor because it takes one or more parameters. So it is one parameter over here. So it is called as a parameterized constructor, and constructor matches the name of the class with the name of the function. So how do we initialize? The class variable is equals to parameter. The parameter value will be passed into the class variable or the data member of the class. So now in the main method I am going to create the object. Three objects have been created, C1, C2 and C3, passing the value 10, 20 and 30. So 10 value will be given to x, in turn it will be given to side. 20 value will be given to x, in turn it will be given to side. Similarly 30 will be given to x, in turn will be given to side. So C1 has the value for side as 10, C2 has the value for side 20, C3 has the value 30. So when I display C out, here 10 will be displayed, 20 will be displayed and 30 will be displayed. So that is how it is possible for us to create the object. This is object creation by passing the values, because parameterized constructor is available, we need to pass the values. Okay. So with the parameterized constructor, it is possible for us to create different objects with different set of values. So this is about the parameterized constructor. So we have seen 10, 20, 30 are been passed and the parameterized constructor is been invoked. So in the next class, we will see how we will be invoking the constructors using different methods, that is explicit, implicit and the initialization at the time of declaration. Thank you.